Welcome everyone to the Bookworm Literary Festival. The event about to start is Poetry Night in Beijing. It is brought to you... It is brought to you in collaboration with Beijing Cream and Pathlight magazine. Before we begin, please could you silence your cell phones? And for the consideration of others, please do not film or take pictures before the event. I've been instructed to say that Anthony Tao, who is coming up, has prepared a poetic intro, beginning with a Spenserian sonnet, which has the rhyme scheme A-B, A-B, B-C, B-C, C-D, C-D, E-E. Thank you, and enjoy the event.
Hello and welcome. Glad you all could join. Why are we here? At Bookworm for poetry, not binge drinking, Tindering, chasing loins as if in orbit, mindless of how gravity is a two-way force. In Beijing, one's free to act on havoc, frisk at mix, skidoo and drift. Poetry's no sun, but let's see if it lends perspective. Maybe acts on you like water that reflects some face of truth. It might be yours, with its small secrets, hidden shame and a bit of self-awareness too. You could, if you so chose, slip to the den, roll with wing nuts and cigarette butts, beer, bad sex, donuts. Maybe this is better. I won't go so far as to say poetry is prayer, or in the words of Mary Oliver, feed me this day, Holy Spirit, with the fragrance of the fields and the freshness of the oceans. But we are all spiritual to the exact point that we allow ourselves. Even belief in nothing may cause us to ask, as the blind poet Virginia Hamilton Adair asked, did the parturition of nothingness give birth to all this glory? One phrase you may have heard is that poetry defamiliarizes the familiar, but I prefer it the other way. Poetry makes us see the familiar, the way sunlight finds form when it cuts through a colony of dust, or the tree rains on the knife sharpener's face as he pedals up a hill called progress, growing steeper while his bells toll. Tonight, try to listen for shape and movement. Poetry can be as simple as a rotation of perspective, so that the door it begs you to open opens into free fall. Its job is not to catch you. Even happiness comes with certain burdens. But those in poems who suffer, suffer for you, the ideal reader, so immaculate as to be transparent. We know poetry because we know living, are constantly engaged in it, like Wile E. Coyote currying a love letter never received. Poetry is for those too real for labels, princelings who strive, and migrants down at discos, whether with Zhou Jielun or Tatu as their soundtrack, well, that's really up to you. Poetry is not disposable in the way a neighborhood seems to be, or a political identity. When you spend enough time with it, every face you encounter in the subways is an unspoken hello and a dispassionate goodbye. Living ghosts like the Nobel laureate's wife began speaking to you then. Listen for memory and desire. Life is this rush hour at Womall stream of passers-by. What we occupy in our present time is the water's skip over a finger that skims the surface. Do I dare suggest poetry is this Ansel Adams photo that only the soul can see? Eventually we reach the river's end, reverse parturition into nothingness. Death is antisocial. This event is not. It could not have been birthed without the significant effort of Kanan Morse, who is the poetry editor of Pathlight magazine, a fantastic locally produced publication. Also published poet, you'll hear from him very shortly. Miss Helen Wing, the poet in residence at Harrow, artist in residence at Harrow. She is the author of the collection Archangel, which you can buy just around the corner. I encourage you to do that after this event. And finally, Eleanor Goodman, who is a poet, translator, and Fulbright Fellow. You will be hearing from her in the second half of this event. They read nearly 200 poems by 43 writers in the past month and did the wrenching deed of winnowing until we've arrived at the poets to my left. Of course, the event is not just about them, it's about you too, because poetry is a two-way force. Please help me welcome Mr. Cannon Morris up to the microphone.
It's an incredible comfort to see so many people here. The book